Mr. Heffley, would you like to come back up here, sir? And I'm going to give you like 3 minutes, sir.
First, I want to express that Mr. Ely certainly is sensitive to the concerns of all of his neighbors, as any good developer should be. I would like to clarify that the current zoning is R4, and so the density allowances have already been determined by the City Council of Moscow that a desirable product in that neighborhood is a mixed-use, high-density development. So we're not outside the realm or scope of what was anticipated at all.
And that's understood by this council up here,
okay.
Mr. Heffley.
Second, I appreciate greatly the neighbors' concerns about the lack of specificity on the design. I can tell you, first, we didn't bring design into this conversation because this wasn't the forum for design concepts.
And that is exactly correct. I had stated earlier that we were talking about the vacation of a piece of property or a piece of land, and as far as what is built there, that is not part of the discussion here at all tonight.
And I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. I can tell you that we have 2 alternative designs, both contingent upon the vacation. And I will go so far as to just say that one looks like row homes, the other is a complex, but a tasteful complex. But that's as much as I think I can say here. To assuage the concerns, it's just really difficult in this forum to do that. I would appreciate it real quickly, Les, if you could go to kind of your 3-dimensional slide that showed like that floating 10 feet strip, because I think there needs to be some clarification for everybody's sake on really where this lies in terms of usability. Thank you. And then finally, we'll get to that in just a second. I wanted to, make sure that we have on the record that no matter what development Mr. Ely puts on that property, city ordinance already requires on-site parking. And so that's just something to keep in mind. We're fully aware that the parking has to be on-site, which is why our preferable parking is to put underground. It's better aesthetically, it's better use of space, but again, that gets into design concepts for which this is not the venue. This is a little misleading, and I don't mean that. It's hard to portray, is all I'm saying. The 10 feet that we are talking about, if I can walk up there. Oh. Okay, the 10 feet really, I'm not really good at it, is more like right here, almost at the top of the steps. Okay, and the slope here, again, you're looking at probably a 30% grade right there. I mean, right here, coming up to 45% back in here. So we're talking about 10 feet of space that's truly on a side slope that you would encounter on a elk hunt. I mean, it's just steep and it's brushy and it's not usable. Nobody walks there. Nobody's, again, even if the city retained it and wanted to utilize that space, the extent of the engineered retaining wall in order to make use of the space, particularly after a structure's been put in place, would be extensive and prohibitive. And, this is a low-traffic neighborhood. That's why it is a greenway, and that's why it is a bike route. The vacation of this right-of-way will have no impact on the bike route. And, in fact, our development anticipates bicycles and alternative modes of transportations as being emphasized. And, finally, the H Street, essentially the intersection dead ends into what, I think that's Logan?
Yep.
Yeah. So the idea that there's going to be any kind of greater confluence of traffic other than what is already permitted by ordinance and law for our development is probably unrealistic, at least in our lifetimes. I mean, it just isn't set up for that. So,
thank you, Mr. Heffley.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I am going to close the public hearing. And we will turn it over to council. There's 2 issues to keep in mind that I will remind the councilors here. Is number 1, if we're going to approve the vacation, and if either yes or no, and that will trigger another approval. If it's approved, then we have an ordinance. So there's two functions that we have here tonight. So, but the first is to vacate or not vacate. So I'll turn it over to discussion. Walter?
Thank you. A question for staff, probably Bill, maybe Les. If development occurs and if it's determined that the sidewalk on 8th is currently existing, needs to be replaced, what width is it now and what width would it be replaced with?
I believe the current width is 4 feet, and the current standards for that class of road would be a 5-foot sidewalk, where we sometimes would retain a 4-foot as if we're filling a gap or replacing a section that matches 4 on either end. Depending on the situation, we could require a 5-foot to match the current standards. Sometimes we would retain the 4.
But this one runs, if I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
this one
sir.
runs from a street to an alley.
Yeah,
Doesn't abut an adjacent home.
And this is one that probably we would look at the 5-foot to be consistent with the current standard.
And if I may, do you know the curb-to-curb width of 8th Street right there?
We did measure it while I was out there. I believe it's either 32 or 34, right in that range.
Thank you.
Okay.
If no one else has one, I have a different one, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Again, for staff, maybe legal. In light of Public Works recommendation to deny, and the council being faced with the 5311 state code that was quoted earlier, that empowers us to vacate streets where, quote, deemed expedient for the public good. Yet Public Works is saying they can't find that it is, if I understood Les correctly. What position does that put the council in? Are we okay?
Well, this body.
Should we decide to vacate in spite of Public Works recommendation?
Let me be clear, it is your discretion. Case law says that it's totally up to your discretion. You would have to articulate whatever expedient the public good is on the way to public good. I mean,
So are you suggesting that this council needs to explain what the expedient way for the public good is?
well, you don't have to you'd have to state something that there is some public good, and there's probably arguments you can make for both.
Like a criteria?
Not quite the criteria. I think that if you just would have to articulate a public good as to why you're requesting or going to go along with vacation.
Okay. Jim?
As I see that, it's kind of a catch-22 here on the public good, because where the applicant said, you know, if they develop this in the way that they propose to, that they will have to improve the sidewalk and the street frontage, and that will be a public good, but yet we don't know that yet, and so we can't say that that public good will happen for sure. So it's kind of how do you decide that?
John, before I go to you, John, I'll grab Gary because he had his hand up on.
Yeah. The representations made by the applicant, you can't, as Rod indicated, they're unenforceable. They can certainly say they're going to improve the frontage beyond what is necessitated by our current ordinances, but the public good wouldn't be something like improve the sidewalk. Public good would be similar to the findings that you would make in a rezone or something like that. It is zoned R4. The council has indicated that mixed-use housing, higher density housing, affordable housing are all things that might inure to the public good. The mere fact that a department indicates that, in their opinion, they believe that they would like to hang on to this right-of-way is not dispositive or binding in any way upon the council. I think you recognize it and then you make your decision.
John?
If I'm not mistaken, Dennis, you said that there's no house there now. And if there is no house there now, I would think that most anything that went in, as long as it fits within the rules of an R4 neighborhood, would be for the public good. Versus a lot that has nothing on it, and it's probably not very well maintained. So I would probably have to say I'm for this and the other reasons that were brought out, that I'm in favor of this particular project.
Okay, Catherine, you had?
He answered my question, actually.
Oh, it was already.
I'm done.
John already answered, okay. Art?
I was just going to say, I'm really torn on this one because I can see the greater public good is articulated by the applicant of enhancing density and still putting up something nice, but without any assurances, we're out floating in the breeze here a bit and unable, in my mind, I am having trouble determining, is this within the public good or not? And I feel like I don't have enough information to be able to determine that at this time. So
I would absolutely agree with Councilman Bedke. I feel like there's just not enough concrete here to,
Well,
this decision.
that being said, folks, guess what? We're going to make a decision, so.
well, in that
So
case,
that, with that, why,
Okay.
Art?
I would move to deny the application for the right-of-way vacation.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Art and a second by Gina to deny the vacation of this piece of property. And I will start to roll with John.
No.
Yes.
No.
No,
Yes?
No.
Okay, well, it does not pass then. So the vacation will be denied. Isn't that correct? or-
No.
Other way.
or- The motion failed. Sorry, folks. Sorry, got it up. Been a long night for me, listening to all this stuff. Okay, so with that motion denied. So to deny the motion has been no.
The
Okay,
floor is
so
open
John.
for a new motion.
Yep, exactly.
I
Floor
would
is open for a new
then
motion.
move that we accept the right-of-way vacation on the piece of property that we've been discussing.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by John and a second by Catherine to approve this vacation. Got it right that time. We'll start with Walter.
No?
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Okay, the vacation is granted 4-2. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next thing.
We need to do the ordinance.
Yes, we do. That's the first thing.
Need to read
So
the
we-
ordinance.
Yep, the next thing is the ordinance, so we will need a motion
You need a motion to pass the ordinance.
to pass the ordinance. So that's the second part of it. The first part was done. John?
You need a motion?
Yes.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we pass the ordinance.
Second.
Excuse me, John, do you intend that it be presented on first reading under waiver of the rules? Oh, yes. So if you just read the action right now, but yes. I do approve the ordinance under suspension of the rules requiring 3 complete and separate readings, and that it be read by title and published by summary.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by John and a second by Catherine to approve this ordinance under the suspension of the rules requiring 3 complete and separate readings. I'll start the roll with Walter.
Aye.
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 Okay, and this is ordinance 2017-2? 2, okay. Ordinance 2017-02, an ordinance of the City of Moscow, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, providing for the vacation of a portion of public right-of-way located within the City of Moscow and legally described in Section 1 of this ordinance, providing that the title to the said vacated right-of-way shall vest with the owners of the property as specified in Section 3 of this ordinance, and providing that this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after an approval publication according to law.